Hello and welcome back to Artismia. In this video, I share a painting session inside Rebelle 8, the latest version of Escape Motion's digital painting software. If you're not familiar with Rebelle, it is an art application designed to mimic the look and feel of traditional paint, watercolor, oils, pastels, gouache, and much more, all inside of a digital workspace. For me, it feels less like pushing pixels and more like actually painting on canvas. Now this video isn't going to be a technical review. Think of it as more like sitting in on one of my art classes, where you can peek over my shoulder as I paint and hear me share what I've learned, what excites me, and maybe a few practical tips you can use in your own artwork. For today's piece, I'm working from a reference photo by Earth's World on Instagram. His portraits are a goldmine for painters. Real, unfiltered faces full of character, age, and story. This one reminded me of a weathered pirate or a fisherman. Wrinkles, a bandana, a face that looks like it's lived 1,000 storms. Now that's my kind of subject, something with character that tells a story. With most of my paintings, I start with a sketch. A little exaggeration here and there, but not full-on caricature. A bigger nose, larger ears, and a slightly oversized eye to bring out personality. Once I had that, I set up my canvas. I always begin with a toned canvas. Starting on pure white can trick your eyes. It flattens color and makes everything look brighter than it really is. A mid-tone base gives you a reference point, so you can judge whether the next color you lay down is lighter or darker, warmer or cooler. That one shift alone can make your paintings feel more natural and alive. Now when I block in colors, I think of puzzle pieces. Typically, I work from large shapes first, just slabs of value and hue, and then fit smaller pieces inside as I refine details. Try to always see simple shapes. It's less about painting an eye or a nose, and more about laying down shapes of color or shadow, like puzzle pieces of highlight or a puzzle piece of midtone. But do not call it a nose or an eye. Keep it abstract and focus on the shapes. It can be helpful to avoid zooming in on details too early. Many beginners love to spend an hour rendering one eye while the rest of the canvas is left blank. That's like decorating a cake before you've baked it. Start big, stay broad, and move into details once the structure is there. In this new update of Rebelle 8, they create an entirely new brush engine from scratch, which includes new real-world bristle brushes. These are spectacular. In this painting, I lean heavily on the bristle wide brush. It gives me that sense of drag and texture you get from a loaded brush on canvas. Now I like to keep the real shader and the nano pixel turned on. This sharpens the edges of the strokes and gives a more natural paint texture and build-up. Now one of the standout new features in Rebelle 8 is the Color Harmony tool. This is brilliant for both beginners and pros. It overlays complementary, triadic, and tetradic schemes right on your color wheel. You can use it as training wheels to guide your palette, or as a way to challenge yourself to try combinations you wouldn't normally pick. Now this is brilliant if you're still developing your eye. For example, complementary mode gives you 2 opposing colors for maximum contrast. Triadic splits the wheel into 3 evenly spaced hues. Analogous gives you 1 family for harmony, and tetradic sets up 2 complementary pairs. Now personally, I would suggest that you use this as a starting point, then nudge your colors towards what feels right in the context of the piece. When I was at university studying painting, and when I was a teacher, one of the first exercises I gave my students was mixing colors on a physical palette. Just sitting there for an hour making swatches. No painting at all. Just experimenting and exploring what colors do. Now this is the best way to learn how they actually work. Rebelle lets you create that exercise digitally. You can grab a color from your reference, then nudge it on the wheel towards something slightly warmer or cooler, and that's how you break out of that Crayola mindset. No more thinking that's orange or that's green. Instead, that's a warm midtone leaning towards yellow. And that shift in thinking can be huge for growth. Something else I want to stress. Resist the temptation to lean on undo, redo, and the eraser. Digital painting makes those tools far too easy. It's almost like cheating. But if your goal is to grow as a painter, especially if you want to transition to traditional media, treat the digital canvas as if it's real paint. No safety nets. Force yourself to solve problems in the moment, and you'll be surprised how much more confident your brushwork becomes. So within the first week of using Rebelle 7, I was a bit skeptical. I downloaded a free trial to test it out when I got my Wacom Cintiq pen display. I figured it was just another paint simulator, but then I tried their watercolor brush. The paint actually bled across the paper grain, pooled in the low spots. It dried with darker edges. The oils were thick and buttery, and it felt just like the real thing. I was thoroughly impressed, and it was at that moment that I bought the Pro version. And it really isn't about fancy digital tricks. It's about authenticity. It felt like I had a real studio in my computer. Now, as you experiment, watch out for a couple of traps. Avoid overblending. It's easy to smudge until everything turns into mud. Keep some brush strokes alive. They add energy to your paintings. Avoid becoming dependent on that eyedropper. Don't pick colors off of your reference every time. Train your eye to judge values and temperature. Use the eyedropper sparingly, then push the color yourself. Again, treat it like it's real paint. You don't have an eyedropper in real life. And really try not to use too many brushes. Avoid all of those choices. Stick to 1 or 2 per painting. Master them and you'll get a more unified look. Okay, so that's some of the process I use for creating a digital portrait. Starting from a strong reference, sketching with a little exaggeration, blocking in puzzle piece shapes of color, and then leaning on Rebelle 8's brushes and harmony tools to bring it to life. I hope you picked up something useful, whether it's a new way to think about color, a reason to try toned canvases, or just permission to play with the software and see what happens. If you made it this far in the video, drop a secret code word in the comments, like scallywag or grog, your choice. That way I'll know that you're one of the dedicated few who sticks around to the end of my videos. Thanks for hanging out with me here at Artismia. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more painting sessions, and let me know in the comments what your favorite digital painting app is. Until next time, this is Brandon at Artismia. Keep practicing, keep experimenting, and I'll see you in the next video.